Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Secretary DeVos, let me start with you. You claim the Office for Civil Rights is more efficient under your new policies. One new policy that you have allows the Office of Civil Rights to dismiss complaints if it places an unreasonable burden on OCR resources. If you feel there's a strain on OCR resources, you should be asking Congress for more funding to make sure that every student is protected. Last year, you reduced the number of staff at OCR through voluntary buyouts. Doesn't that result in fewer staff to handle the workload?
Thanks for that question, Senator. And before I answer that one, I just want to make reference to
Well, I have
your
very
opening.
short amount of time,
I
so
know
if you
that.
could just answer me yes or no on that question, we'll get a chance to hear on your others later, but I want to know.
The Office for Civil Rights is very much focused on the work that it has before it. They have been able to do so with effectiveness and efficiency. I'm very proud of the work that they've done, and they continue to address all complaints appropriately and will continue to do so.
Well, you are requesting even fewer resources for OCR. Does that mean OCR will dismiss even more complaints because of the burden it places on their efforts?
We are committed to ensuring that the rights of every student are protected, and the office is very much committed to
Well,
continuing
I think
that
it's very
work.
clear with fewer resources, fewer staff, that we're going to take fewer claims and protect fewer students. And that really isn't how OCR is supposed to operate. Congress has taken very clear steps to address that issue with our budget. In the spending bill that we passed last year, Republicans and Democrats actually rejected your proposed cuts to OCR and instead directed OCR staff to increase staff in order to effectively and timely investigate the complaints. Your staff would not provide specific information to our bipartisan, bicameral appropriations staff during a briefing on your hiring plans. Will you commit here and now to give back to our staffs with specifics on that, please?
We will be happy to get back with you on that. We are in the process of following the orders and the intent of Congress.
Okay, well,
and
we would like
remains very committed to students, protecting students' rights.
Okay, your staff refused to give us answers, so we would like that and would appreciate getting back to us.
Of course.
Okay. During your April meeting with State Teachers of the Year, you claimed that the teacher strikes occurring around the country were coming, quote, at the expense of children. Those teachers out there are fighting for new school supplies, for their students, classrooms that aren't falling apart, and the ability to support their families on their salaries. Do you think children benefit when they have to use outdated and worn books, or when their teachers have to work multiple jobs just to make ends meet?
I think students, when they're not able to go to school because they don't have anyone to go to school to teach them, that hurts them. And so my point has been that I hope that adults will have their disagreements and debates outside of time that impacts and affects students.
Well,
and we need to ensure that students are kept in the center of the equation on this whole question.
Well, it takes money to pay teachers more, and you keep trying to cut federal investments, as I talked about in my opening statement. Do you think children benefit from your proposals to cut billions from public elementary and secondary schools, including funding to train teachers, underfunding grants for student safety, well-rounded education and other issues, and after-school program for almost 2 million students? Do you think children benefit from that?
Our budget is focused on helping students that need the most help, and we're keeping in mind the fact that the federal government is only 10% of the equation of funding for schools. We need to stay focused on what actually benefits students the most, and we believe our budget
all those dollars
stays very
count,
focused
I can tell you. As a
on those
former
students
school
most
board member, I can
deserving.
tell you every dollar counts. Finally, you may have seen the student letters that Mandy Manning, she's the National Teacher of the Year from my home state of Washington, National Teacher of the Year. She delivered it personally to President Trump, and she teaches English, actually, to refugees and immigrants. And one of her students wrote to President Trump, and I want to read it to you. When you say you don't want refugees, students in the hall at school tell me that they don't want me here because I am a refugee. You can change this by saying good things about people like me. That's what a student said from the Teacher of the Year. Do you think it would be good for all children if the president would say good things about students like those of our National Teacher of the Year?
I had the pleasure of meeting Mandy, and I think she's an awesome teacher. I think that the work that she does is so important, and I think that we need to continue to support her and all of her counterparts.
Well, answer the question. Do you think adults should be careful with their language because the impact it has on students like that?
I think we all have an opportunity to be careful with what we say.
Including the president?
all of us have the opportunity to be careful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Murray. Senator Langford.